Hi everyone and welcome to my Flosstube channel. My name's Stephanie and this is my channel that's all about cross stitch, and this is just a regular whip update video. So this one is Flosstube 23, and I think it's been about 2 weeks since I last shared some projects with you all, so I have a few things to share today. So first of all, if you are a new subscriber, then welcome to my channel, and then I am an Eder stitcher and I stitch a range of projects. At the moment it's probably a bit more full coverage, but I also do non-full coverage, and that does include some stamped kits as well. And for all of the regular viewers, then thank you for coming back to spend some time with me. Hope you're enjoying whatever you're stitching on while you have this video on. And I wanted to just say a huge thank you to everyone who does subscribe, because I have reached just over 700 subscribers. So I started the channel I think in March, I want to say, and I was convinced, I know I've said this before, but I was convinced that nobody would really watch, and obviously yeah, it's reaching people, so that's great. And like I said, I love to read all the comments, and I'm so grateful for everyone to come over and watch the videos and interact and everything. So yeah, so thank you to everyone who does subscribe. So yeah, great milestone. So I do actually have 2 finishes today to share, so I will head into those first. So I recently came across Carolyn in Designs from another Flosstuber, and happened to excuse me, go onto her website when there was a small sale going on. So I managed to get a few mini ones for my collection. So I can't find my clip for this magnetic board, so you're going to have to just bear with me. So this one is my first finish. So this one is called The Simple Things, and it's classed as a one colour wonder. So I think it's charted with one of the blues, but obviously you can just make it your own. So I followed the design exactly as it is. The only difference I made is that I used variegated floss, just because I have a lot of them in my stash and I don't really use them, so I thought this would be a good opportunity to use it. So the one I've used on this one is 4519, and you can see that that is a mixture of red, very dark green, and it has some brown in it. So they're not DMC, these ones, but I think probably a bit like CXC, they would be the same numbers as DMC. So the only thing that I know really with variegated thread is that you're supposed to not do the loop start, so I did 2 single strands together, and I did the like a full cross individually. So each cross I put the X on before normally I would do like kind of all one leg and then come back, but obviously with this one I did that, and I started in the middle and I worked around each of the like kind of mandala type things. So yeah, so that's that one, and I am going to turn it into a like little mini pillow cushion finish, but I have a few that I want to make, so I'm going to just wait until I've made them all and then like have a couple, like a week or something, where I finish off, make loads of cushions or something. So this so that one was one that I purchased, and then in her Facebook group there are quite a few freebie designs from I think a couple of years ago, and they're very similar, but I also wanted to stitch a few of them. So this one is it's classed on in the group as the May freebie. I think it's from 2022 or something like that. I miscounted a little bit my Eder scrap that I had for this one, so obviously it does come a little bit too close to the edge, so I won't be able to make this one into a cushion, I don't think, but I'll probably maybe back it onto some felt or something like that. So that is that one, and this one is stitched in 4240, which as you can see is this one. And both of the ones I've just shown, they are a 14 count Eder, and I've done these 2 strands full cross. So with this one, I have a pack of, like a sample pack, and they're all this size, they're all different colours. So this is, it doesn't say what they are, but this is kind of like a, I'm not too sure what you'd class that, like a kind of stone colour. And this one is actually a piece of white Eder that I dyed with a fruit tea, and it was just like a scrap that I had left, so I thought I'd do that one. So that's my 2 finishes. So not FFOs, but they are finishes. And then my next one, it's very much almost a finish, as you will see in just a second. So I'll just put my board there for a minute. So this one is a stamped kit, and it's by Painting Fairy, and that's roughly what it will look like when it's done. So this is embroidered little fox, and it's an 11, no it's not, sorry, it's a 14 count. It's a 14 count stamp kit. So I'm doing this one 2 strands full cross. It's a very tiny design for quite a large piece of Eder, but that's how it comes. So obviously all of this will wash out. So as you can see, all of the stitching part is done, 100% completed on the stitching. I am just now working all of the back stitch. So this one, I haven't got the other page with me to show you, but this has, I think it's like 3 different kinds of back stitch. So you've got the black one, and the green one, which I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to bother to do these ones, and then it's like I think it's one of the reds or the oranges that makes the hoop. So obviously I've only just started all the back stitch, so I still have that to do, and then obviously wash it and everything like that. So what I'm thinking of doing is kind of coming up to like roughly them, so that I don't know if I will put the green back stitch in, and I'm going to just like try and make it like into a little mini pillow finish. So this is like a sort of finish but not quite. So the stitching's finished, I've just got to do the back stitch and all of that, so that hopefully will be a finish for next time. Right, so I'm just going to have the rest of this coffee because it's going to go cold. I'll be a second. Okay, so my next whip is another one of the Carolyn Manning designs. So this one is another one from the Facebook group, and this is classed as the August freebie. And again, I think it was from like the same year. So this is on the same, you know, the pack, Eder from the same pack as I just mentioned. So as you can see, they're all kind of the same square. So this is a pink Eder, very pale pink, and I'm doing this one in number 51. Which is a mixture of red, orange and yellow. So yeah, obviously that's the middle. Obviously, like I mentioned on the other one, I came around and did this. This one I've tried to do something a little bit different, but it is, I think it has definitely slowed me down. So I think I will stick to that kind of go around the whole thing, rather than do kind of that and then go in sections. So yeah, so that's where I am with that one. So that, like I said, that one's a 14 count as well. I do have a few other of those like One Colour Wonder and a few of the freebies that I want to do. So I do have my little bag, and I've kind of got them all organised with variegated thread. So I thought I'd just quickly show them and then carry on with the whips. So this is the bag that I'm using. It is actually a makeup bag, but I decided that it works really well for like small projects. So it's definitely worth a look at things like makeup bags, because you might be able to find some really cute ones that you could use. So as I mentioned, I've got a big pack of that Eder, so obviously a few pieces are from that. So this one is a green, obviously green Eder, and the colour that I'm going to be using will be 4030, and that is like a mixture of aquas, and it's got like blue and purple in there. So this one is a one colour wonder, but it's like a garden themed one, so I'm just basically changing up the recommended you know, colours to do my own version. So that is going to be like a garden one, and then this one is like a very dark blue Eder, and I'm going to be stitching with 4128, which is kind of like a peachy colour. So this one I think it's the opposite way around, because it's I think it's like a yellow Eder and then it's the blue stitches, so I've just basically flipped it because it's like a sea. I think it's called like sea and sand or sun and sand or something like that. So it kind of, I thought that like that kind of went with it. So that's the sea, that's the sand. So yeah, I kind of tried to keep it in that little theme. And then I have this piece, which is a freebie, and it's made up of 3 greens. And then what I'm basically doing is I have a piece of yellow that I hand dyed ages ago, and I'm just basically going to do it in 2 different greens and then alternate between which one I think would look better. So we have like dark greens, and then that one's more of a, it's got like yellow and stuff in it. I'm not sure if some of that might be lost on there, but we will see how it goes when I do I get around starting that one. So those ones, so the darker green is 4045, and this lighter one is 4050. So that's going to be that one. And then I do have a bigger one that I'm going to be doing. I mean, these are probably going to be next year, probably not going to be this year. So this one's one of the one colour wonders, but it's like a bigger one, so it has 9 of those like little square designs. So I have a bigger piece of Eder for this one. So this one is a brown one, I think it's called Coffee. So that's that one. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it a bit like a kind of candy style. So I have a pink one, which is 48, a yellow one, which is 4077, and then like an aqua type green, and it's 4040. So then I'm going to like alternate the colours, so they'll all kind of have like 3 boxes each. So yeah, so that's all my kind of like mandala little design plans. So I'll just pop them away in this little bag. So that's them. So that is some of my plans. Right then, and then we are on to the full coverage. So I don't have a lot of projects I've worked on over the last 2 weeks. You will see why. I have done a few little starts. So I have a couple of Christmas ones that I'm going to be working on probably the last week of November into December. I won't share them today because they only have up to 100 stitches on each. I just basically, because I have some like coloured Eder that I wanted to use for them, so I wanted to make sure that like I could actually see because one's like a red Eder, so I wanted to actually make sure I could see the Eder properly before I go, you know, planning to do it on that. So they all kind of came out okay. So they're just basically started off, they're over there. I'm not going to count them as whips because obviously, like I said, I'm planning to start them properly. That was kind of like a little tester. So like I said, I'm not going to show them, but most of the work has gone into this pile here. Alright, so can't read my own notes. I wrote it really kind of like smushed up, so right, so my first one is Mini Beloved Flipped by artwork is Adele Sessler, and it's charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. So this one I am I started this one along with Steph over at Wild Fox Stitchery as a start along, and I am working mine on a 16 count Eder, and I'm doing 2 strands full cross with CXC. Yeah, CXC. So I will pop up a picture, so let's get this right, because I always get the image the wrong way around. So the picture is going to be on this side. Yeah, that's it. So the picture of what it was like before will be on that side, and there we go. That is where I am now. So I'll hold it back so you can have a comparison, because I keep meaning to start to do that, and then I'll bring it in. So that's what I have so far. So that is now at 2,000 stitches. The total of that one will be 81,750, and I am currently at 2.45%. So this is the only full coverage that I have that is not coloured. So this is like a, you know, monochrome or whatever it's called. So that's the only one I have. So I wanted to try and get some stitches going on that one. So that is where the end of the first page will be, and where you can see that little one coming down there. So that is the width of the page. So I'm trying to work in pages at the moment. But obviously Haid pages are very large, even on the minis, so it will take a while. So yeah, so that's where I am, and we've got, as you can see, bright sunshine all of a sudden, so that's going to be really irritating. So hopefully it's not too distracting. And I've put my projects the wrong way round, which is useful. Okay, so the next one is Dragon and His Books. This is a pattern by Pink Lily Patterns, and this one is one of my older whips now. I started this last December, I want to say. Yeah, I think it was last December. So this one is a 16 count Eder, and I'm working, well, I was working it 2 strands full cross, but it's very chunky. I'm not sure why this one is, it's different fabric, so that's the only assumption I can make. So obviously the one I've just shown is 2 strands full cross, and that's fine. This one just feels very chunky. So I have actually started to try 3 strands tent to see if, was it 3 strands? Yeah, 4 strands tent. I've done a few tents this last 2 weeks, so I'm trying to remember now how many strands each one's had. So yeah, so this one I have done some in tents, just to kind of see if it makes a difference, and I've not really noticed much of a difference yet, so that might be a good thing. So I think the last time that I had shown this one, I had finished the top row. I think I'll have a picture, so I will pop up a picture. It's not really for a comparison, it's just so you can kind of see. So what I have done, I think this most recent time, is I came down here. So if I put the board behind it because of this sunshine, I mean, I shouldn't moan, it's nice to have sunshine. I can actually film without loads of extra lights. So yeah, so I've come down here, and this is actually where in the middle of this I have switched it to tent. So it is, yeah, I mean, you can just about tell if you're really looking, I think. But yeah, so all of this section is actually in tent, so you can't really tell. And if I bring it back over to here, there are obviously hanging threads. So yeah, I've added, I'm not sure if that was there before, so I've added a little bit of the towards the eye, and then basically it's just, I've just been trying to add some in all of this middle, so like these little bits, and things like that. So some of this now does have tent stitches in it. But yeah, so I just gotta figure out basically where I want to stitch on this one. Just because I've kind of gone everywhere on it. So this one now has 13,500 stitches. That's out of 84,008, and it is currently at 16.07%. So that is the dragon one. Okay, I've got threads all over me. Okay, so the next one I have worked on. I was actually working on last night, so it does still have the needle in it. I was trying to get it rounded up to share today, but that didn't happen, so it is a bit at an odd number, but I will be coming back to this later on today, just because, like I said, I've left the needle in it. So I will pop up a picture where it was last time and then put it on this side so you can see a comparison. Okay, and then I'll bring it in. So this page here, it's gone very dull all of a sudden. So this page here where it goes up to that line, that is a partial page because I've started from the top right on this one. And as you can see, I only have a couple of stitches. It's just because I was only working last night the packed threads back in, so as you can see I obviously didn't have the thread for that. So when I filled those ones in, that is technically a page finish. And then this is the width and the, you know, where the full page is. So I need to fill in that section there obviously. And then just start to kind of bring all this across. So I was working on, yeah, I was working on this bit last night. That's where the needle is. So this one is an 18 count Eder, and it's stitched 1/1 full cross with CXC. And yeah, like I said, there is, so this obviously with them being dark colours, you can see a little bit of the white showing through, but I just feel like it looks really neat. And because I'm stitching a bit more in a page form, I do find that that's much easier than with some of my earlier projects, because I've realised these last 2 weeks that I'm not a, what's it called, like a big cross-country stitcher, so I do kind of prefer, with the full coverage, I do prefer stitching kind of in a few block section at a time, and then only coming down if I, you know, really need to. So yeah, so that is that one, and I didn't say the stitches, did I? So that one's currently at 3,588, so I'm going to try and round that up to the 3,600, no, either 3,600 or I'm going to try and just round it off to the 4,000, it depends how much, but it'll probably end up being 4,000. So it's currently at 3,588 stitches out of 90,000, and it is I can't read my own writing, I think that's 3.99%. That's that one. Right, what I will do is I will show them the opposite way around because I've got a bit of chat to do about that other one. Right, so this one is a new start, and this is Minnie the Mountain Cabin. So this is artwork by Dominic Davison, and charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. And I just need to backtrack because again I have realised, sorry Ashley, so for Potions, this one's Potions Master, if I didn't already say that, and it is artwork and charted by Boogie Stitcher over on Etsy, so sorry about that, Ashley. Anyway, so yeah, so Minnie the Mountain Cabin. So this is, as I said, artwork by Dominic Davison, charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. So this one I have been enabled by Lacey at the Sleepy Stitcher. She is stitching the full regular size one, and this has obviously been on my wish list for quite a while. and as I ended up, I did have another Dominic Davison one, which was a Mount Cabin Home, and I ended up UFOing that one. So I decided that I would go with this one, which had been my other choice. When I got that one, I did have this as my sort of like other one. So yeah, so I have done a small start on this one. I have started in the top right hand corner just because I, you know, don't want to necessarily be stitching the exact same thing, and I just thought it would be quite fun that people could see, and myself, you know, could see the opposite side being done. So I'm doing this one on a 22 count Eder. So I'm doing it 1/1 full cross. So I'm not as confident on 22 count. So most of mine, as you could tell, were either 16 or 18s. But I do have 22 count and 25 count, and I'm trying to make a few projects on those, because obviously the bigger I start to go to something like 22 count would be much easier for me. So this one is like I said, top right hand corner, so it's 375 stitches that I've done, and that is out of 75,075, and it's 0.50%. so there's not a lot to see. I think there's just 2 different colours there. I did have a little bit of a, you can probably see now I've zoomed in, I don't know what happened there. I think it's just because I'm getting used to stitching on this material, so there is a little bit of a muck up, but the rest of it all does look neat, so I think I kind of found my way a bit with that one. So yeah, so obviously it's not a lot to see so far, and then the material as a whole is quite a small piece. So yeah, so I think it'll probably come to about there. It's the regular size mini, you know, as the other Hades. So yeah, so small start on that one. And then my next one, I'm just gonna move this camera because that light is really, oh, right, actually, sorry, I'm just gonna pause for a sec. Hey, sorry about that. Yeah, I've just pulled the curtain in a bit. Right, it's gone like really bright outside for some reason. Yeah, so my next project is where most of my stitches have gone the last 2 weeks. So I'll kind of do a little bit of a explain. I'll try and keep it quite brief because I know not everyone likes kind of life stuff. So last few weeks, I've had a bit of a hard time with mental health that I do suffer from, but I've had a bit of a, yeah, a bit of a down period, I guess you could say, and a lot of my projects just felt very overwhelming, which is why, as you could see earlier, I did a lot of those like minis and started rearranging like little colours, and I found that quite fun to do, and it was, you know, calming and everything. And so this one is, it's a lot of black in it, and I kind of just like the idea of only having a couple of colours to change between in the sections I was working on. So I ended up stitching out a page, then I thought I'll get another page, and it's ended up being what it is that I will show. So this was an 18 count easy grid fabric, and I was originally stitching it, so I originally started 2 strands full cross, and I found it quite quickly very bulky, so I started changing it to 2 strands tent, because my logic was that a lot of my 18 count projects are on a 1/1 full cross, so 2 strands would give me a decent amount of coverage. For some reason this fabric, I'm guessing it's because this is a more expensive fabric and most of mine are off a cheapy, you know, shipped from China fabric, I don't know. But this one I was having a lot of issues with the coverage. So I actually washed it thinking that the thread would fluff up. It didn't. obviously the grid's gone, but I'm not really someone who uses the grid. As you can see, a lot of my projects don't have it. I think it's just because I started doing full coverage without it, so I think that it doesn't really you know, it doesn't really make a huge difference to me as a stitcher. So yeah, so that didn't really matter, and obviously at least I know that the grid does come out of the Easy Grid fabric. So yeah, so this had a good wash, and I actually used shampoo, because I think I read that somewhere online that they recommended like to fluff up the threads. So anyway, like I said, it didn't fluff up the threads, and the problem is because I've now washed it, it's made it so soft, and I do not I'm not someone who works well with soft fabric. I know that's a bit backwards from what everyone else you know, does, but I find, because I work in hand, I don't know why, but I find that if the fabric's really stiff, that's actually helpful to me, whereas when it's soft, I can't do it the same. So I have had to resort to using a hoop for this one, which I don't really like using hoops, because I find that it makes my hand, because like you've got your hand like kind of holding onto the hoop. But anyway, so what I've ended up doing as like a last attempt to fix this without UFO in it is switching now to 3 strands 10, and I do think there is a bit of improvement, so I think I might be able to fix it. So let's get to the actual showing it. So this one is Angelic, so it is artwork by Eder, Rosa, and it's charted by Stitch Is So Beautiful. Now I can't remember where it was when I last showed it, so I'm just going to pop up a picture of what I found on my phone. I'm normally pretty good at taking pictures after I film, so this might have been where it was. It may have been further along, but as you can see, what it was is I'd originally started in the top right hand corner, worked across the top row, come back to the left hand corner, did a page, so I had a page on each side, and I was just slowly working all that across. So let me get this to show. So what I'll do is I'll double up the fabric, just because it is quite sunny, so you shouldn't be able to hopefully not see behind it too much. So there are some hanging threads, and this is where I am now. So as you can see from that image that I've shared, this is so much been done. I will obviously start to fetch it in. You can see straight away I only need to hold it there. You can already see all of that white showing through. Now, like I said, this has been washed and it hasn't really changed it. Now, I know that is a lot of dark colours, so that's probably why. I do feel like this is a bit of like blah, like there's not really anything you can see. Unfortunately, I can see the leaves, I can start to see stuff coming out here, but this is just a bit like, I don't know. So I worked on all of these pages because these were the ones that had hardly any colour changes in them. I've left the last 3 pages till the end, and they're the worst ones because they're so confetti heavy. So that is, so all of that is 2 strands 10. That is where I switch. So this one is a 2 strand full cross, and then this here, so this section here, and I think a little bit of this is now where I have switched to 3 strands 10. Now there is still a lot of the white showing through, but I'm thinking that could just be because of the you know, because of the way that the stitches are lying. So my hope would be that, you know, if I start another row and do a 3-strand tent, that it'll be a little bit better. So yeah, so that is all I have left. Now that is, it's 3 pages, but as you can see, there's a lot that's been filled in. And as I said, I've left the worst part till the end because that now is a lot of confetti. So it's taking me a lot longer than I was expecting it to. So obviously now I'm holding this back and showing it on camera, it does look a lot better than it has looked, or it does look in person. So I'm hoping that it will keep going, because that's a lot of work and I really wouldn't like to UFO this with so much work in it. But lesson learned and all of that. So at the moment now, this has 23,706 stitches out of 160,000, and it is at 14.82%. The image is a lot bigger than I was expecting. I don't think I worked out. This is an 18 count, so that's probably why. But obviously all of that fabric's still left, and obviously as I can tell, that is the top of her head, so her face is going to be very large. But yeah, like I'm really hoping that the coverage looks better than what it does close up. So yeah, so huge progress on that one. I mean pretty much the last 2 weeks I would say that I have been probably more of a monogamous stitcher on this project, which as you can see, and it is tent stitch, so obviously it's a lot easier, you know, than if I was doing full cross. But yeah, so that is where all of my stitches are gone. So yeah, so at the moment I'm treating that as a bit of a teaching project, I suppose, because I'm gonna aim to finish that section that I just showed. That way the whole of the top row is completed with stitching, and then obviously if I can't salvage it after that, then it will just have to be a UFO, unfortunately, and it would be a good test for me to, you know, make sure that I stitch the right way. But this is basically what I found, that while I've been filling all this in, I've realised I don't like doing cross country, because I found it to be so confusing and I get a bit lost. So yeah, so that's been an interesting one. But that's so that's all of my stitching. Apart from, like I said, apart from a few little minis, beginnings that I've done. But yeah, so that's all of my stitching for this time. So I want to do a shout out. I've mostly just been catching up with everyone's floss tubes. A few I have fallen a few videos behind, so I'm just catching up with those. I have had a couple of mentions and I wanted to say thank you for that. And I wanted to just shout out a channel, and that is I'd Rather Be Stitching. Now this is one that I'm still a couple of videos behind, but I just wanted to say that you know, it's a lovely channel and it has quite a few videos now, and I always enjoy the comments from Tamara, and yeah, if you've not checked that one out, then go ahead and check that one out. I will leave the link in the description. So yeah, I just wanted to say a shout out for that one. And then the hate Sal. So I know there's quite a lot of people that have signed up. I have not done it before, just because obviously I, you know, haven't done full coverage for I've only done it for about a year. So I was very conflicted with this one because I won't say obviously too much detail because I wouldn't like to spoil it for anybody who is doing that image, but I was convinced that I was going to do the like cottage, like stone, I think it's called Stone Cottage. I was convinced I was going to do that one from the teaser images that we were getting in the group. And then when the image came out, well, the images got revealed, and then you had, like, I think it was a couple of days before you could actually, you know, like order it. So obviously I was really researching the images. I was doing the thing on Google where you search the image and it will, you know, and it obviously, that's how I discovered, like, there's a couple that are paintings, and then like which is this one, which is that one. So I found that a couple of the designs on the Sal are already current designs by Haid. This is obviously just like a special cropped version for the Sal. So that took my choice off them, if that had been my choice, because I thought, well, I could purchase them anyway. And as I said, this one that I mentioned, I was convinced that it was Thomas Kincaid or Dominic Davison just based on the artwork that I could see from the teasers. And then when I was doing the Google search, it couldn't find me. Things are falling. It couldn't find me a reference for it, like a, you know, so I was like, oh, that's strange, because especially with like Kincaid, you'd expect there to be an image that it matched to, and then it turned out that obviously that's why I couldn't find it, because it isn't Thomas Kincaid. It is an image by L&L Designs. So before the release came out, like I said, I was researching the images, you know, zooming in really closely, looking at what colours I thought it would be and how much was like this section and that section. And I discovered a couple of things in that image, and it was one of those that it's like once I saw them, I just couldn't unsee it. Like I said, I'm not going to go into detail and say what it is that I saw, because I don't think that's fair for anyone. But it was basically that I realised that it was an AI image, which, you know, I do stitch AI images, I'm well aware of that, and that's not really an issue. But I do want to also be a little bit more aware of how many artists that I'm supporting going forward and how much is AI. So I don't really want to do something like a Sal and then have it be an AI image. Especially if I've noticed a couple of inconsistencies that, like I said, I know that that would probably affect my enjoyment and everything for the piece. So that one was out with the running. Then I was deciding between, I think it was the dandelions and the dragonflies. And the problem is everybody in the comments was saying dragonflies and dandelions. And I also don't want to be stitching the exact same thing as everybody else, because I just think then that we're all going to see the same, especially if we all, you know, everyone's starting say top left, because you kind of have to, because that's where your full page would be. So if everyone's starting in the same place, and it would just be, we're all just seeing the exact same the progress on these projects. So I really couldn't decide. And anyway, long story short ish. So yeah, basically I asked my brother, I live with my brother, a younger brother, and he never has any interest in anything cross stitch related that I try and talk to him about. It's not his thing whatsoever. So anyway, so I just randomly asked him, I was like, what picture, you know, what image do you reckon that I should pick? What would you choose? Like, and he actually surprised me, and he said this one that I'm going to show in a second. And he actually said that, and he said, you know, oh, you should do this one because you don't have any, you know, all yours are colour. And he is right. Apart from the Mini Beloved, all of my full coverage are actually, you know, colourful or have colours more than, like, you know, greys and beiges and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, so I did a little bit of research on this one, and it is actually from a painting. So it's called The Mirror of Phoenix, The Mirror of Venus, and the painting artwork is by Walter Crane, and it's from the 1800s. There is a colour version of this image already on Hades. It is a huge one. I think the length of it is 800 and something stitches, and it is known by its French title. And I think it is in the Art of Antiquities section on there. I won't share a link or anything to that one just because I have to look for it. But yeah, so that is that one. So that is currently available as the colour edition, but this one is like more of a grey one. And like I said, I researched it, and it is an actual painting, and it is very different to all of the things that I do. So I thought, yeah, that could be fun. And I kind of like that, you know, because my brother mentioned it. I thought, well, then I can blame him if I don't enjoy it. So yeah, so that one is the one that I have chosen. And it's quite a funny one because that one seems to be the least popular so far in the Sessler group on Facebook. So my plan is I'm going to be doing this one on 18 count. Eder, obviously it will be 1/1 full cross, but I just wanted to show the colours, because I was actually really surprised, because you look at that image and you automatically think it's going to have white, it's going to have ecru, and you know, a few other colours, and it actually has none of those two. So I have normally I work off a master set, but for this one I have fully kitted it up, or you know, kitted. It's got a bit of each colour, so obviously once these run down I'll just take it out of my master set. But yeah, I was really surprised. So this one, I'll pop it that way, it's probably be easy to see. So that is some of the colours. So obviously, yeah, there are a lot of browns and there are some greys, but what surprised me was like the purple shades, and you've got like a very light green as well. So that is some of them, and like I said, you've got like purpley greys. So that is some of the colours, and then this one is the others. And as you can see there, you definitely have some purples in it, which, you know, I found very surprising. So if you were thinking of doing this one but you didn't think that it would be the colours, then so that's roughly the colours on this one. So yeah, like I said, you do have a few like greens, green, purples. So yeah, like I've been quite surprised by that when I was kitting it up. So it's interesting where those purples will be. So yeah, so I have my bag all ready to go. So I'm just waiting now, obviously, for the pattern to get released on the 1st of January. So yeah, so if you don't know a lot of information, because obviously I didn't, I've never done it before, the Hades, it kind of sounds like on previous years the patterns have been released in installments, and they have said that on the 1st of January you will get an email with the entire chart. So whichever chart that you have picked, you will get the entire chart emailed to you, so you could, you know, stitch it at any pace within that year. And as a bonus, if you complete one full page, you will get an exclusive Amy Stewart chart. They haven't said what it is, they haven't given the image out yet, but it is an exclusive chart that isn't available anywhere, and all you have to do to get that is sign up and stitch one full page. So I mean, to me, that would, even if I don't end up stitching the entire project, if I get one full page, which I'm sure I will get one full page, you know, I just want that, I want this, you know, exclusive chart. And then if you do get 6 full pages, then you will get all of the charts from the stitch along. So yeah, so that is a little bit about that. And then Artsy Cross-Stitch currently have a sale, and that is running until the end of November. So there are some really lovely patterns on there, and if you enjoy you know, things like animal patterns and landscapes, there's lots of choice on there. And the minis are really small and they're really cheap. So like in the UK, on the UK prices, the minis I think are £2.98 each at the moment on the sale, and the large ones are I think they're £6. So it's a really good price if you know, if you are looking for some new charts. As like I said, that goes till the end of November. And then there are two other companies that are retiring some charts. So Unconventional.Xstitch, they have quite a few artists. I think there's like 5 different artists that are retiring very soon. They haven't given a date when they're retiring, they just say that they're retiring soon. And you have artists like Ivy is it Dullamore? I'll pop up the image, one of the images. So I'll pop up the image of that one. But yeah, there's there are a few artists on there that are retiring, and I think there currently is a bit of a sale. If you purchase a certain number of charts, you get like different percentages off. And also Thread Geeks, I may have mentioned this in another video, but unfortunately Thread Geeks are retiring nearly all of their collection, all of their artists, on the 31st of December. And there are some really big artists on there, such as Anne Stokes, you have Christine Caron, you have Jasmine Beckett Griffith, you have a lot of different artworks, you know, charts on there that will be taken off. One of my favourites on there is called Chrisabug. I haven't seen so far that any other company has taken their work, so I'm really hoping that I'm able to get at least a couple of those charts before the end of the year, so fingers crossed. At the moment I have, I think it's over 20 charts that I'm looking at getting, which obviously I'm not going to be able to get all of them. So what I will do is I pop up the 2 images. What I've done is I've made like a thing. I have like a photo app where you can make collages. So this is sort of thing that I do when I'm looking for cross-stitch patterns. So I'll pop up the images so you can see which ones I'm looking at getting. And then I just kind of every so often, every couple of days, I will kind of take a look at that for a few, like a minute or so, and then really kind of, you know, compare the images I'm seeing, and then really try and like go, which one do I like more on this row? And I'm trying to like narrow it down basically, so I only get a small amount at the end of the year, and you know, ones that I actually feel I would stitch. So yeah, so I just wanted to mention all of those, just in case you're not aware of them or anything like that. So it has been a long video, which I know I've waffled a little bit, but yeah, like I said, it's been a tough couple of weeks, and you know, stitching, as always, stitching Flosstube, it's always been helpful, always helps. So yeah, so I just wanted to share what I've been working on. I'm not sure how my stitching's going to go the next few weeks. I'm not trying it monogamous again because I really miss all my projects, and honestly I don't even know with Angelic if I'm going to even finish that section by the end of the year, because I just feel now I just want to pop it away. I'm sick of seeing browns and blacks and what is it, dark greens in that little section. That's just, and greys. Ugh. But yeah, I just think that it was helpful to stitch on the one project, but now I kind of want to stitch on all the things again. So yeah, so we shall see. I'll probably just do a spin the wheel, to be honest, for the week ahead, and then yeah, end of the month I'm gonna get some of my Christmas ones out and get them going. So yeah, again, I want to say thank you for everyone who is a subscriber, everyone who watches, and if you not a subscriber, please consider subscribing. It would really help the channel and it would help it reach more people, and then I get to share all of this stitchy stuff with everyone. So I hope that you've all enjoyed some stitching for around about the last hour. Have a good weekend. I am off to stitch some more on Potions Master, and then I will probably do a spin the wheel and we will see what comes up. So happy stitching everyone, and have a great weekend, and I will see you all again soon. So bye!